Hi friends, and welcome to Fiber and Floral, a mostly knitting podcast. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca. I am a German American living in Berlin, Germany. I am also a multi-crafter. I knit, I sew, as you can see, I spin, I embroider. Basically, if there's a craft, I have done it, and I'm usually obsessed with it. I wanted to do something a little different. Perhaps it's not so different compared to probably all the videos you've been seeing, but for me, I don't usually do videos like this. But as I was watching all these like what I've knit in 2025 videos, one of my friends, Bree, did like a kind of like awards show. She didn't show everything she'd made. She's a sewist. I'll post her Instagram down below. Phenomenal YouTuber. I love her style and just her personality. She's great. But she kind of went through and like, what is the thing that I love? What was the thing that was hardest to sew? What was the thing that didn't work out? And I found this a lot more helpful for me, even just as a viewer, to see like mistakes, but also trends of like what she really liked and what she really didn't like, and like learn from that. And so I kind of wanted to do something similar and kind of go through all my knits, not for you today, but go through what are 5 of my most worn and favorite knits that I made in 2025, and what are my least worn or least favorite things that I knit in 2025. And even just like going through this before this video was really helpful for me to notice trends and mistakes that I made. And so I thought I would share that with you today. I'm going to be starting with my absolute favorite make. It is the Darjeeling blouse by Trust the Mojo. There are a lot of reasons why I love this top. In the summertime, I wore this probably twice a week. Honestly, it is just such a nice fabric. It is a, let me see, was it a sport weight 22 stitch gauge on 3.5 millimeter needles, and I knit the cropped size. And one of the things I really love is it's basically just a classic white tee with details that kind of like elevate it. You have this lace along the edging of the sleeves and along the edging of the hem, and then you have an I-cord detail. And then it's also I believe it's a contiguous shoulder is what you would call that. Like you kind of have one of those where it goes up, and it's knit from the bottom up, which is worth noting because I know a lot of people are scared of a bottom up. I knit several things from the bottom up this summer, and so I kind of got a feel for how much room I wanted from like the arm side to my waist. So this worked out really well for me. That means that I think this design just has a lot of really, really nice details. The button band is really nice. I had someone ask on a video recently if I went back and sewed these buttons, and I did actually, even though they're still coming out. So that's the only frustrating thing, but honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. I usually still wear a tank top underneath. The other thing that I really love that made this my all-time favorite for the year was the yarn. And I knit this, let me make sure I'm getting this right. I knit this in Embroidered Pure Silk, which is like, I believe it's a linen silk blend. Let me pull this up real fast and get it right. It is 70% linen and 30% silk. And this kind of made me have an obsession because I also went to knit another blouse in linen and silk later because I love this one so much. The yarn is like a chain yarn, so it's just like really light and airy and like the most fabulous summer yarn ever. I truly think this is my all-time favorite summer yarn. I will probably knit with it again this year. Like, yes, it was kind of a pain because it is a chain yarn. Instead of being applied, it's like basically like kind of like a, I guess like a crochet, kind of that kind of chaining. It was kind of a pain to knit with, but it's okay because the overall finished garment is so breathable. Like I wore this in like 35-degree weather, Celsius, which would be like 95 degree Fahrenheit, and had no problems. So wonderful. I truly wore this all the time in summer. It's so breathable. It's so lovely. I think I've even put this in the machine. I want to say I put this in the washing machine, although I'm not certain. Regardless, it's not something I had to wash a lot, and just great, phenomenal. So all-time favorite. Surprising that as a knitter, my all-time favorite is a summer garment, but I did knit a lot of summer garments this year. I think I knit 4 or 5 altogether, and I do get a lot of wear out of them. I know that's something that's rare for a knitter to say, but I really enjoyed this a lot. It's really hard to put your favorite knits or the favorite items that you've made in an order. So maybe I should just say like top 5, because I feel like I'm like, oh no, this was my favorite. Oh no, this was my favorite. But like, just all of these kind of could be interchangeable based on the day. But my second favorite, or at least what is the second of my top 5 that I'm going to present to you today, is this DRK sweater by Andrea Mowry. I think the pattern, I believe it's also another sport weight. Notice this trend, it comes back later. And also probably a 21, 22 stitch gauge. Hang on, I'm gonna pull this up. So this is another 21 stitch gauge sweater, sport weight yarn. That is a trend we will be coming back to. I think it calls for 3.75, and I think I met gauge on 3.5 millimeter needles. I knit it in this really lovely Kingston tweed that I picked up when we were visiting my husband's parents in Baltimore 2 or 3 years ago now. Just a really lovely brown color. This is not a color I would have really ever picked, but I really reach for it all the time. I got my colors done, your seasons, a couple years ago as like a Christmas present. And I know people have strong feelings about this. I really benefit from it. Brown is not a color I would have ever picked, but I really love it on me. Every time I put this on, I just feel so good, and I feel like my skin looks good and everything. And that's not a color that I would have originally bought. So thanks to my color analysis, I went for it, and I am more open to it. And I think what also, as I was knitting this, and I was even like knitting this around my best friend, and she was like, oh, it's just a plain sweater that feels so on you. And I was like, yeah, it does actually. And it didn't, I wasn't motivated to finish it. I think this knit probably took me almost a year to finish. But then I had the idea to use this motif from Embroidery on Knits from Judith Gumli. You can see it just goes over the shoulder and then around the back. And once I had this idea that this is what I wanted to do with it, I finished it in like a week. It's such a quick knit. I did crop it, and the sleeves are also more of a bracelet length. But I felt like because it is more of a fitted, I think I only have like probably only an inch of positive ease. I felt like bracelet and cropped really worked really well for it. But once I got the idea to put this motif on by Judith, and it's just this really sweet, almost like a sunflower and like little pearl dots. I'll see if I can it feels, I just really love wearing it. This is something that, especially now that it's gotten colder, I wear also probably once a week. It's just one of my go-to sweaters. It matches everything. It can go with so many different outfits, and just makes me really feel good every time I wear it. It fits really, really well. This is a sweater that I would definitely go back to and use as another canvas, as another blank canvas for embroidery. The DRK sweater by Andrea Mowry. I don't know if I said her name, but really lovely. Probably one of my favorite patterns that I knit this year. And then my third favorite knit that I'm going to show to you is the Lawrence sweater by Johanna Hirsch, or Colibri by Johanna on Instagram This is a worsted weight gauge, 16 stitches, and knit on 5mm needles. This was actually a sponsored test knit for her. And so the yarn came with the test knit. And there's a couple of things. It's just a simple raglan construction with a modified mock stitch. So a mock stitch is usually like, you do 2 rows of knit, purl, and then you switch. So like you kind of like stagger the knits. And so here you did, instead of 2 rows of knits and then staggering, you would do 4 rows. So just, okay, love, it's okay. And then you have a classic 2x2 detailing on the collar and the sleeves and the hem. It is, I want to say there was like a 20, let me see. There was a 10 to 15 centimeter positive each, which I really liked. I think this is where I started noticing that I really did like positive ease. I tend to be someone who likes form-fitting garments, but I think there's also a place in my wardrobe for more oversized garments. I'm not someone who's going to wear like a 20 to 30 centimeter positive ease garment. At least I say that now. But I think 10 to 15 centimeters, I'm kind of realizing is something I want to knit more of. I think it's just so cozy and easy to throw on. I did crop it. It kind of hits like high hip on me. And I just really like that length. I think in previous years, I've knit a lot of things that kind of stop at the waist. But I think having things extend to my high hip is also just really nice. And you don't really have to tuck it in, but it still like has some like figure, it allows a little bit of your figure to show, but not too much. And I think that was just like, especially now that I'm working with like littler kids, I'm a preschool teacher, and it's just nice to be able to throw on and have something that moves. The second reason I love this sweater is the yarn. You'll see that a lot of these projects that I'm picking is just like when a pattern and yarn came together perfectly. And so this yarn was a sponsored test knit. Most of the test knits that I do for Joanna are sponsored. So like the yarn is provided by the company. And this was provided by Novita. They have a new yarn coming out that was a fingering weight called Edith. No, let me look this up. Let me make sure. Helena. And Helena is 60% wool, 30% silk, and 10% mohair. It says it's a fingering. It has 200 meters, 250 grams. So I want to say it's really more like a heavy fingering or like light sport weight. It's definitely not a true fingering as what I would say. But I held it double, and then I also held it with their mohair. And just the silk in this made it just such a wearable yarn. I'm really realizing that a lot of like the oversized sweaters that I reach for, the yarn is so important. It feels so cozy and luxurious. And I think what I learned from this is that before knitting this sweater, I really thought that I was someone who didn't like heavier weight garments. Like the most I would knit was a DK weight. But I'm realizing that actually I just can only handle like rustic yarns up to a DK weight. After that, they just get too warm. But if it's like really soft and not prickly, I don't mind it. And so this is something that really opened me up to like, actually, I do like thicker sweaters. I just need to be conscious of my yarn choice. I do love our rustic yarn. I think that's great. I mean, I'm currently wearing, I'm wearing Matites from Rosa Pomar. This is the rustic ballerina sweater, by the way. And it's it is on the more rustic side. It's definitely not a true rustic yarn, but I don't mind. Like, I do love a rustic yarn. I think there's lots of good things about rustic yarns. However, for me personally, I've realized that if I'm going to knit a heavier weight garment, I want it to be softer and more luxurious, at least for right now. And the combination of the pattern and the yarn came together, and it's just really great. This also, like, the color just surprisingly goes with a lot. I really love wearing this color. I wasn't sure actually when I first got the yarn. I was a little disappointed because the color turned out different than I thought it was going to. And that's just because they hadn't come out with a yarn yet. So we were looking at like a very small photo sample. Now it is out and like available to buy. And so you can see more of what the colors are like. But actually, I really love wearing this. It's so soft and like, can you see the halo on that? Like, look at that. Like, it's fantastic. Can't say enough about this yarn. It's so nice, so luxurious. I'm so honored that Joanna picked me and I got to try this yarn. The fourth favorite pattern that I'm going to present to you is the Petali slipover from Marie Eve, or In Her Skein on Instagram. And this is another top that I wear all the time. Like, it influences what I'm sewing now. Like, I cut out a new blouse last night. It's right here if you want a sneak peek. Look at this. Oh my gosh. But I literally changed the pattern I was gonna sew because I was like, ooh, if it's like a little collared shirt, it'll go well with my Petali slipover. And the last weekend I did the same thing. I sewed a turtleneck just so I could have another top to wear this. This has influenced so many sewing tops. I just love it. I find myself wearing this, honestly. If I could wear it, get away with wearing it 3 or 4 times a week, I would. I love it. It is a DK weight gauge, light DK weight gauge, or heavy sport. It's a 21 stitch gauge, so kind of in that DK to sport range. 4mm needles, and such a cool construction. So you cast on the side, do this little scalloped hem on the side right there, and then you knit across, forming the neckband or forming the neckline shaping, everything like that. Then cast off here, and then come back, pick up for the underarms. You have a little I-cord edging right here, connect it to the side, and then pick up again and do the scallop edging on the hem and the neckline. So stunning. And it's one of those garments too that's like so simple, but was really fun to knit and has like these really sweet details that are really flattering. It kind of adds like it's not form fitting at all. I think it's got, so it calls for anywhere between 0 to 2 inches of positive ease. And I think mine has around 1.5 inches of positive ease, I would say. It's not form fitting, but also it's probably, yeah, like a neutral ease garment. And, but because of the seams right here, it kind of gives the effect of princess seams and can be very flattering. I knit the cropped. There's also a version, there's a cropped and longer version. And then there's like a vest underarm shaping, and there's an underarm shaping if you want to knit like a summer garment, which is super smart. I love that like she figured out a way to make this garment accessible for like fall and summer. It's really, really smart. I would definitely consider knitting this in the summertime as well. And I think this color just goes really well. I love this color green. And I used Vovo from Rosa Pomar, and the theme of things combining. This is one of my new favorite yarns. It looks rustic. I love the colors. Like, it's a little bit marled. You can't even see it really. Like, it's very, very subtle, but just enough to add interest. I mean, you really can't. I got a 21 stitch gauge with it. And it was really hard for me to get a 21 stitch gauge with most DK weight yarns. And Vovo is technically a heavy fingering. I think it's also around, oh no, it's a true, it's kind of, yeah, it's a heavyweight sport yarn. So it's got 143 meters to 50 grams. So, and I find this is like right in the middle of where I want for 21 stitch gauge. So I actually ordered more for a sweater for my husband, if you can see that. That'll come back later this year. And yeah, I love this yarn. It looks rustic, but it's not. Once again, this Matisse is by the same company. And I just find their yarns look so nice, so lovely, but they feel good as well. So they kind of give me that rustic vibe without the rustic feel. And that's been really important for me. I've had a lot of skin problems this year, and my body at one point could just not handle anything close to rustic. So this is about as rustic as I can get right now. At least if it's going to touch my skin. Yeah, I don't know. I could talk about, I love this garment. It's so lovely. I wear it all the time. And I love this yarn. If I could knit more with it, I would. The fifth garment that I'm going to show you is the Hey Sailor blouse by Andrea Maurer. Yes, another summer pattern. She does have a very similar sweater version of this. I believe it's called like the Mint, or it starts with an M, that I would consider a knit. It is a fingering, both are fingering weight patterns. This I used, I think it calls for like a 32 stitch gauge, which was so hard for me as a loose knitter. I had to go down to a 2.5 millimeter needle, which means for the ribbing I used 2.25 because I don't even have 2 millimeter needles. But I got a gauge with 2.5 and the ribbing worked out just fine. And I used a light fingering. It's honestly in between light fingering and lace weight yarn. I tried the knitting for olive cotton merino, which is what the pattern recommends, and there was no way I was getting engaged with that. She is a very tight knitter and I'm a very loose knitter, so when I knit her patterns, it can honestly be quite hard. I usually have to go down a yarn size and a needle size. But anyways, it is also a bottom up drop shoulder construction. And then what makes it interesting is you have these, when you go to make the shoulder, you kind of have this like shoulder seam that adds a really interesting detail. And then a button band that you can definitely see some of them coming off. I need to sew those on better later. This looks, one of the things I love about this pattern, and I think I talked about this when I showed it on just like one of my project videos, is how much fun this was to knit. It is used mosaic coloring work. So you don't hold two yarns at the same time. You hold one color and you do a row in green. And like when you get to these white squares, you just skip them. You just slip them onto your needle, skip them. And then when you get to the white, you just knit across the row. And then you go back to the green, you purl back, skipping over the white again, and then use the white, purl the whole row. It's so easy and simple. I love that I got such a fantastic, complicated looking garment with it was just so much fun. I loved it. It was such a fun technique to try. I'd never knit a garment in mosaic before, but I want to do more. I don't know if I'll get to it this year. There's just so many things I want to knit, but really loved it. It's the perfect amount of positive ease. I think I have 5 to 10 centimeters or 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. There's just the tiniest little bit of sleeve, but I think everything just fit so well. And you can technically wear this. I usually wear it with the 2 top buttons unbuttoned because I definitely just don't like anything on my neck in the summer. But you can technically wear this forwards or backwards with the buttons in back. Now, to be honest, I've never worn the buttons in back. I do prefer the buttons in the front, but I think it's a neat idea that she designed this to be kind of a garment that could be worn both ways. And you can actually unbutton the buttons and wear it as a cardigan as well. Yeah. The yarn I used is Holskan Coast. in the colorways Mangrove and Ivory. And this is a very light, almost lace weight, but fingering weight. It is 350 meters to 50 grams. So you see what I mean? It's so light, but honestly, this feels like a t-shirt. Like this feels like it's as light as a t-shirt you could buy from a store. It's so lightweight. It's so nice. It's, I believe, hang on, I forget the exact. It's 55% merino and 45% cotton. So that was also just really nice to work with. There's bounce to it, there's memory, but you still get that lightweight cotton feel. Really, really soft. And the colors available, like if you really like moody colors, definitely give Holsgarn a look. They have a lot of yarns that I want to try. I really like them. I've used this before. I've never used it by itself, but I've held it with another cotton yarn. And I just think the colors are so lovely. This is something I'm hoping to knit the DRK Everyday cardigan this year. And I'm considering holding this double for like a summer cardigan. Just like, you know, I think that 55% merino, but 45% cotton is just a really nice feel and is breathable. So I think I'm going to try and hold it this year sport weight to get, or double to get a sport weight. We'll see how that goes. I still need to do a gauge swatch, but really, really lovely. I had such good luck with summer knits this year, mostly. This will come up in a second. So I think what I'm taking away this year is I'm taking away a lot of information. I tried a lot of different yarns this year and found some that I really liked and some I really didn't like, which we will get to. And I think what I'm taking away is I have some go-to yarns that I can pull. Like I have the gauge swatches that I'm going to pull for other projects, such as the Vovo, which will come up, the Novita Edith or Helena, whichever one. Just these really nice, soft feeling yarns that I want to take and use for other projects. Another thing I'm taking away is positive ease. I want to try to knit more garments with like 10 to 15 centimeters, or like, I think that's, 4 to 6 inches of positive ease this year. I knit a lot of fitted garments this year, which I love. Currently wearing one that's very fitted. But I want to kind of add more positive ease and also some longer, like higher, or maybe even some low hip garments, just to kind of mix things up and fill in some gaps in my wardrobe when it's really cold. It's been so cold recently. It's currently like in the negatives outside. I just want to throw in something cozy and warm, and that just like is basically a blanket. So I'm going to try to go for that more this year. Another thing I'm taking away is, if you notice, like all of these really, besides the Hey Sailor, all of these are solid color, which is someone who loves color work, kind of disappoints me a little bit. But I think there's a time and a place for color work garments. And actually, if I was thinking back to my 2024, and almost all the sweaters I knit in 2024 were color work garments. And so I think there's just a time and a place. I don't have a lot of single colors in my wardrobe, and that is something I would like to knit more of in colors that I love. So that's something that I'm taking with me. Here's my pile of happiness. On to my least favorite. Some of these I still wear, some of these I have yet to wear. And so I'm going to start with one of them I can't even find because I've only worn it once. So we'll start with what I've never worn and work our way up. The first one that I have never worn is the Brighten beanie by my dear friend Angie of My Dear Puppet. And if you watch the podcast, you've heard me mention I knit at least 5 of these a year. It is not a problem with her pattern. I love this pattern. There is a fingering weight and there is a chunky version. So fingering weight is like 2.25 millimeter needles and the chunky is like on a 4. It is just a very simple triple folded beanie with a 4-part decrease on the crown. I have realized though, what I learned from this one is that I think I knit a size adult small. So it goes from like newborn all the way up to adult XL. What I realized, I think I knit an adult small this year, is that I keep knitting hats for my husband because he wears a lot of hats. He's bald, so in the winter he needs something covering his head at all times. And I always steal his hats because I love how they fit. But in the back of my mind still, I'm like, oh no, I'm a size small. Well, it doesn't matter what size I am, it matters what I actually like wearing. And so what I've realized what I like wearing is an adult large. So basically just anytime I knit a hat, I'm just gonna give it to him, let him stretch it out. And I love the way it fits. I stole his hat today. I've been wearing his hats for the last 2 weeks because I just love how they fit me and I love the colors and I get dibs because I knit them. But I'm also realizing that I like a thicker hat. I actually just knit a Brighten beanie chunky for myself on 4mm needles in a chunky yarn, and I like that fit so much better. My kids love the fingering weight version, and anytime my friends have a newborn baby, they get one of these. This is why I've knit so many, because the fingering weight in a newborn size takes up 20 grams of yarn. I think she says it takes up 25 to 30 grams. Every single one I've ever made takes like 20 grams tops. So I just I'll buy like a fancy skein of sock yarn, and I can make like 4 to 5 baby beanies with it. And I just like crank them out. And that way it's sock yarn, so they're soft, and the parents can just throw them in the washer. That is like my go-to baby present. And like every baby needs a hat. And the fingering eight works because babies need to wear hat. Like especially here in the winter, babies need to wear the hats inside. My daughter probably didn't go bald until she was like 6 months old. She was born in February, and it's just like a thing here, like, oh, children have to wear hats, otherwise they'll die. Which is like a whole thing. Germans are very serious about like clothing in winter, which makes sense, but also it's a lot. What I learned from this, what I'm taking away, is that I don't like fingering weight hats. I'm willing to give them another try down the road, but this didn't work for me. And I'm also taking away that I need to start knitting my husband's size as a hat for me. The other thing is I knit this in a sock weight yarn from Mindful Creators in the colorway S'mores, which I still really like. I think what I was trying to emulate was Angie knit herself a hat like this in a size large, using 2 strands of knitting for all of cashmere, and she used like a brown and an ivory, and I think I was trying to emulate that, but it's just a marled look is different from like a variegated look, and I think I thought it would be similar enough, but it's not. And I just don't like the variation on hats, and so I think it's something that I'm going to stay away from in the future. And I will probably rip this out eventually when I get to it and knit. I have the coffee socks pattern by Stole Knits, and I think this would actually be really cute, like as the main color, and then having the little coffee cups and like a teal-ish color could be really nice. So I will probably rip this out and use it sometime in the future. A lovely sock yarn, a lovely pattern, just not for me. My second least favorite garment that I have only worn, I believe once, maybe twice, is the texture top, the texture Terra top by Mippy the Label. And I knit it in Drops Belle, which is like a linen cotton, 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. I learned a lot from this top because I love this pattern, and I think there's a lot of good things about it. Like the lace, I don't even know where this is right now. I don't know if I mentioned that. I love the lace detail. I love the I-cord edges. I love the yarn. Like everything was just so soft. It's so lovely. However, it is not bra friendly, and I thought that wouldn't bother me. I learned that it does. I really struggled with being bra friendly, but I think also the lace pattern that went down the front and the back. She does have two versions of this pattern. Like one has a lace panel and one has, that is like obviously a little see-through, and one is like a checkerboard pattern that is not see-through. And so maybe if I had done the checkerboard pattern, I would wear it more. However, I still think the bra was just too hard for me. I think if you're someone who doesn't need to wear a bra in the summer, would be a beautiful pattern. Like, it's nothing with the pattern. It's all about how I feel in the top. And it was free at one point. I don't know if it's still free, but yeah. And I think just the lace and you could see the bra straps really bothers me. I know in the end, that's not a big deal. It just bothers me. And so I don't feel comfortable, and I am old enough to not wear clothing that makes me uncomfortable. So, whether that's from feeling or just like how I feel like emotionally in the top. So, the second thing I kind of realized is that unless it's like pure linen or silk, I don't like, if it's a majority cotton yarn, even for summer, it needs to be fingering weight. I don't like the DK, or I think this actually might be a worsted weight yarn. It says like DK2 worsted. It's 120 meters for 50 grams. And it's too thick for me. I love the feel of it. I'd used it before and didn't mind it, but the top I used before has like lace around the shoulders, so I didn't mind it. But I also don't wear that one as much anymore. Now that I have like fingering weight and sport weight garments for the summer, I tend to reach for those. And I think yarn weight does matter for me. And especially with summer knits, I'm leaning, even though they take longer, I would get more wear if they're fingering or sport weight, especially if they have a majority like linen blend. I don't mind the cotton if it's fingering weight, but if it's anything bigger than that, it needs to be predominantly linen. So that was a big takeaway for me. And I think even last summer, I kind of adjusted to where there were other tops I was looking at. But when I went to knit a tank top, I made sure that I was trying it on constantly to make sure it fit under my favorite bras and could not be shown. That's just being a millennial who grew up in the Southern United States. The whole, like, I was like, ingrained into me, don't show your bra, don't show your bra. So even though I live in a culture that is very free with their bodies, and I love that, it's still just like something that like I've never felt fully comfortable with. Yeah, it's something that I've adjusted last summer and will probably do in the future. I will either knit t-shirts or I will knit tank tops with thicker straps. That's just how I'm going to be. And then I'm only going to knit like fingering and sport weight unless like a pattern really speaks to me. I would love to like just rip this out and give a try with maybe like a really lacy garment. I think that could be really cute where you wear like a tank top underneath. We'll see what happens. I'm not like ruling it out. I'm just like, we'll see. I do love this color, and I do love this top. Would recommend it. I tested it. I would recommend it if you don't mind those things. But it's just me. For me personally, this is what I learned. I'm going to go with, I feel like some of you are going to be mad at me for this, but it's fine. On my third least favorite garment I knit is my book club cardigan by Sari Nordland. Let this show you that even great patterns can be disappointments. This is the famous book club cardigan by Sari Nordland. I wear this a lot, to be fair. I probably reach for it once or twice a month though. It's definitely, and it's usually because like, oh, I should wear that. I spent so much time on it. It's not like I'm looking forward to wearing it. And I think this comes down to a couple of things. First, my yarn choice. I love how this yarn looks. I love the tweed. I hate the yarn. I feel really strongly about saying that, but I even like tried to knit with it on a recent project and it just grows so much and it doesn't hold its shape and it's fine. I think the recent project, I tried to knit another hat with it recently and it just like grew 7 inches in width. It was insane. I I was so disappointed because I love how this yarn looks. I love the tweedy bit. Like, look at the tweed. It's stunning. But I don't like it. I also just don't like how it feels. I don't know, like it just doesn't hold the shape. I don't know. I don't like wearing it. It's fine. It's not even rustic. It's soft. I don't know. Something about it I don't like. The other thing that really gets me is I knit the button band too short. I don't know if you can even see that. Yeah, you can see the button band comes up right there. She recommends, so I blocked the project first, saw how much it really weighed down and stretched. And so even though Sari recommends picking up every single stitch along the button band, I picked up, I think, every 2 out of 3 because I was worried about it stretching and growing too long, but it did not. And so that's solely my fault. I'm still learning to knit button bands and I've only knit them once or twice, but it's fine if I tuck it in, like I just like give it a little front tuck. But then the problem with that is I have these lovely pockets, which once again, I love, and I love the look of, I think it's so cool, but they kind of get in the way when tucking it in. So I think I don't know. It's not, I probably just need to go back and knit the button band, but I don't love the sweater enough to do that. I love how it looks. Like every time I wear it, I'm like, oh, I really like the vibes of this, but I just don't reach for it because of those issues. I would love to give this another try in like a burnt orange color. This is Vovo that I'm planning to use for a future colorwork sweater for my husband. I love this color. So I could see, can you see like the tiny little bit of marl in it? It's just got some like interesting, I don't know. It's just got like, it's a solid color, but it's just interesting. So, I would love to knit like a deep, dark rust orange version of the book club cardigan in the next few years. And once I do that, I will probably rip that out and try to knit just like a really loose garment with this yarn. We'll see what happens, but I love the book club cardigan. I have a love-hate relationship with the yarn. I think it's Fonty Tweed, Fonty Tweed Supreme. It's like a DK weight yarn that's like mostly merino and 5% mohair. And the mohair is what makes these little tweedy bits. Very stunning, very lovely, which can show to you that even if something is beautiful, you don't have to like it. And I don't. I'm still gonna wear it, but I don't like it, and that's okay. It was a big disappointment. That really taught me how important yarn choice is and like knowing how a yarn is going to work. After this cardigan, I also did a lot of study on like 2-ply versus 3-ply. This is a 2-ply yarn, and really for cable, you want 3 or more ply. Just it's gonna hold those cable stitches better and really make it defined. And I've had people tell me that they like the softened cable look, and I appreciate that, but I think it also just doesn't hold the cable well. This entire yarn just doesn't hold shape well, which is fine if you have like a very simple slinky knit, but that's not what this is. So I would love to knit it in a solid color in the future, and hopefully it will take its place in one of my favorite knits eventually. My 4th least favorite knit, following the trend of something you love, but is still one on my least favorite, is what I did call the colorwork sweater of my dreams. But now, since wearing it, it was just a learning thing. It was my first all over colorwork sweater. Oh, I should say the name first. This is the Rundt Dalen. by Kristen Viola Ogdegaard. She is a Norwegian knitwear designer who basically like specializes in color work. This is available. I actually think this one is available as a singular pattern on her website. I'm not sure, but I actually bought her her book that's called like 12 colorwork cardigans or something. And it's actually made to be steeked down the middle, but I just made it a pullover. So you can see on the back where there is like, just from like where you change rows, and normally you would steek that and you wouldn't notice that, but because I didn't steek it, yeah, you have that light. It doesn't bother me. It's on the back and like whatever, but it is something worth noting. And then I also, because it was designed without short row shaping, I added short row shaping into the neck, which I would do again if I knit her pattern. The reason I didn't like it, I had trouble getting gauge. And then it also is designed, I'll post the original picture here. It also has this sleeve that would be typically mirrored at the bottom. So it's designed to be a longer garment. I wanted it cropped. I just think I would wear it more, and I think that was a good decision. And so I just forego that, which I'm really sad about actually. But because I had trouble getting gauge, I had to go down to a 3mm needle, and I just got worried about using a 2.5mm needle for the ribbing. I just felt like it would be too small, so I still used the 3mm, which I would not do. I at least should have gone down to like a 3.25 or a 3 would have been fine, I think. I don't know why I was so scared about that, but it just makes the ribbing at the sleeve poke out and making sure you could actually see that. And I ended up just like, I also knit the sleeve too long, and for being a fitted sleeve, too long and like a weird cuff. So I usually end up wearing it basically with the cuff folded up like that, which makes it less noticeable. But I really just need to go back. I don't mind the ribbing. Like it also kind of pokes out of the neck and the hem, but it doesn't bother me as much. I really just need to go back, rip out to like this line here, and then just knit in 2.5. That's a simple fix. I still have some of this yarn left over. It's not a big deal. I could just like cut it and probably finish it today. That being said, I'm not going to anytime soon. I still wear it a lot. I probably still wear it once a month, maybe even twice a month during the winter, but yeah. I used Samilla Gots, which is from BC Garn, which is a sport weight merino 2-ply. And that's one of my favorite yarns that I will use this year. Like I said, I used it in the summer for one of my tops, and it almost made this list of favorites, except for I realizing that all my favorites would have been summer garments, and that's insane. But I love it. I'll post a picture here. It's stunning. I really think this is where this yarn shines, is in lace garments. And once again, learning about ply and how 2-plies are great for lace garments. And so if I had like a lace cardigan or anything like that, or a lace sweater that I wanted to do, I would use this yarn. But that being said, I don't know if it really works for this sweater so much. I don't know. I don't feel like the color work is as defined as I would want it to be. We'll see. I'm gonna try. So basically this is the circular version of this, and then I'm going to be knitting, let me pull it up. What is it called? I'm going to be knitting this Zet E Dalen, which is the same pattern. It's just in a drop shoulder instead of a circular yoke for my husband. I love this stitch pattern. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I just don't wear it a lot, and it was kind of a disappointment. But I'm going to be knitting this for my husband pretty much in those exact colors. And I'm hoping to finish this by his birthday. I have not cast on, but all the yarn is there in this gorgeous navy Vovo from Rosa Pomar. And my first time steeking. It's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited about it. I'm kind of hoping to redeem this. He and I have very similar chest sizes. So what's nice is I can knit this for him, and he already knows, like, this is his birthday present, but it is our sweater. And I'm looking forward to kind of having a longer colorway, like a true fancy colorwork sweater. I think it'll be a really nice heirloom piece, and I'm excited for him to have it and for me to have it. So I'm hoping to redeem this one eventually. And like I said, I still wear it. And on that theme, my most worn, but my most disappointing knit are the World's Simplest Mittens from Tin Can Knits. This is a free pattern, and I knit a pair of merino and mohair socks, which I love and wear all the time. And I like them so much, I wanted some matching gloves. And I thought, I'd never done gloves before. It was a project that I wanted to try. And I learned a lot. However, I learned what not to do. I hacked this pattern a lot because I wanted to because I work with kids, I'm often taking on and off my gloves. That being said, I thought this would be like socks where you kind of want your sock to be tight because it's going to help them not get as many holes. But so I did that, and basically this happens. Which is, I guess, fine because let's be honest, when you're cold outside, your hands aren't like this. Oftentimes they're scrunched up in your pocket like this. Still, it bothers me, and I'm embarrassed to wear them sometimes. I still wear them. And then I also think I did the thumbs like this so I could text or whatever my phone. I think I would just knit normal mittens next time and just make mittens that you can take off. I would like to make another pair of mittens this year. I already have the yarn for it. I just need to knit them. It probably won't get done to the end of the year, but I think what I learned from this is that I don't like the thumbs. I just would rather actually take my mitts off. Sometimes what's actually practical is knitting a garment that you love. Even if it's not practical, if you're going to wear it more because you love it more. Yeah. But this was a good learning process in terms of how to construct a glove and how I need a glove to fit. So I know next time to add more positive ease into the length, because it does fit here. It's just and I think if I would have knit just a straight glove, it would have been fine. And it's still a little, so yeah, it's just something I needed to learn. I wore these a lot last winter. I actually haven't worn them much this winter. It's just honestly too cold. I'm wearing full wool gloves all the time. But I did like the mohair on my hands. I would knit these again and give it another try. But I guess for a first pair, I'm thinking of my first pair of socks, and they're fine. But yeah, I think these are probably going to end up in my retired learn from me pile, or I guess maybe they could fit my kids eventually. But in 10 years. If I can still find them in 10 years, maybe I'll give them to my teenager daughters. But yeah, we'll see. So that's number 5. So I guess disappointing, but not so disappointing. I guess I'm going from I guess in terms of least favorite, it's your absolute least favorite is number 1. And then your least favorite, most least favorite is number 5. So, I mean, I think overall I learned a lot about yarn choice. I learned about styles I wanted to knit, being thoughtful about how the yarn and the pattern combined. I think that was a big theme for me last year, that I'm still learning what I do and don't like, and just learning more about my preferences. I don't think any of these knits were complete fails. They were just preference issues and tweaks that I could do next time. And overall, I'm really happy with how my year went, and I'm really happy with how I learned. And yeah, I'm excited to see what this year is going to bring in terms of learning experience and learning about my preferences again. Yeah. Let me know what you learned, any knitting tips or any preferences that you kind of discovered last year. I would be really interested to know if there's any technique that you hate, or any yarn that you're I will never knit with that again, or any pattern, or any style of pattern. Yeah, I would be really interested to know that. So please let me know down below, and thank you guys for watching. wishing that this year is full of peace and rest for you and full of creativity. Bye, friends. See you soon.